great Arctic explorer Robert Falcon Scott was born in the naval town of Devonport. The family home, Outlands House, once sat on the current site of St Bartholomew's Church, Outland Road. Despite the demolition of Scott's birthplace, his legacy continues, both through the placement of a plaque near the site and the Terra Nova mission flag positioned within the church. The Plymouth have also been preserved with the construction of the Scott Monument. Taking pride of place on Mount Wise, the 37-foot-high monument serves as a reminder of Scott's courage, devotion and achievements. Typical Plymouth tradition, Scott joined the Royal Navy at the age of 13, following in the footsteps of his grandfather. Scott's progression in the Navy throughout the 1880s and 90s resulted him in becoming part of the Antarctic expedition in 1900. Scott had found his passion. He launched 2 expeditions to the Antarctic in the final years of his life: the Discovery between 1901 and 1904, and the ill-fated Terra Nova in 1910 to 1913. Scott therefore left a legacy as an iconic British explorer whose endeavour to be the first to reach the South Pole was to be both his making and his downfall. Following the success of the Discovery expedition in 1904, Scott returned to his naval duties but continued to harbour ambitions to reach the South Pole. After much organisation and financing through private investors, Scott would get his wish to set sail for the Antarctic once again in 1910. Although the aim of the expedition was to garnish important scientific research, Scott himself noted that the main objective of this expedition was to reach the South Pole and to secure for the British Empire the honour of this achievement. During the final stage of the voyage, the Terra Nova hit rough seas and encountered heavy storms, resulting in heavy losses of both supplies and animals to be used for transportation. Not to be deterred, the expedition carried on regardless, and reached Ross Island on the 4th of January 1911, landing at the same point as the Discovery expedition nearly a decade earlier. Upon unloading, one of the motorised sleds for the expedition was lost. Shortly after, further animals perished, which, following their earlier problems at sea, must have appeared ominous to Scott and his party. After setting up prefabricated accommodation at Cape Evans, the expedition set about a process of depot laying and carried out geological research in the northern and western regions of the area. By September 1911, however, Scott revealed his plans to march towards the South Pole. After originally setting out with a 12-man team, Scott later scaled this back to 5. After calculating rations and supplies were not enough for all of them. The 5 men surpassed previous explorer Shackleton's furthest point by the 9th of January 1912. A week later, however, they were shocked to notice that a flag had already been placed claiming the pole. Although Scott and his team were to reach their target on the 17th of January 1912, they soon realised that Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen had beaten them to the punch by nearly a month. While exhausted and downbeat about the failure in reaching the pole first, Scott did suggest in his diaries that it is still something to have got here. Pride bruised, Scott and his remaining contingent began the return journey. Scott soon realised, however, that fatigue was beginning to set in. Edgar Evans would be the first casualty, losing his life on the 17th of February. Oates would soon follow, and it has been suggested that he wandered off into the wilderness to die, so as not to slow his colleagues down any further.
Scott and his final 2 companions, Wilson and Barrows, are believed to have died shortly after. Scott's last diary entry on the 29th of March 1912 read, "We shall stick it out to the end, but we are getting weaker and the end cannot be far." Their bodies, however, will not be recovered until later that year. After several aborted attempts to locate Scott and his party, the search was called off for several months due to adverse weather conditions. A rescue team was to finally resume the search on the 29th of October 1912, and by the 12th of November, they were to at last learn the fate of Scott and his men, upon discovering the 3 frozen bodies in their tent. A makeshift cross was made from skis to act as a gravestone. This was later replaced with a permanent landmark placed in 1913 on Observation Hill as a mark of respect and a testament to their achievement, endeavour and sacrifice of Scott and his team.
What a glorious tale again is told of a heroism grand, of British men with British hearts out in that great white land. A band of heroes brave and true, descending side by side amidst eternal ice and snow.